What's going on, my peoples? It is vlog number 5 and we are here. It's early in the morning right now. It is 5:30 in the morning. I'm here at a gas station where I'm gonna get me a cup of coffee, and I'm just gonna sit in my car and I'm gonna be reading for like an hour or so, right? I'm just gonna go ahead and review every single chapter that I read so far, go through all the highlights, all the important stuff that I read. And in today's video I want to talk about being selfish, right? Whether you come into real estate school and you decide to go to the weeks class, or you decide to stretch it out to a month, right? You have to be selfish with your time. Now, hear what I'm saying, right? Now, think about it like this. If you're going to do the weeks program, you have to dedicate a week to yourself, right? So that means it's gonna be plenty people, plenty obligation in your life that you're supposed to deal with. Just put it to the side for a week. You have to really dive in and be selfish with your time, because this is no joke. You can connect all the dots if you put the time in. Got to put in the work, right? Now, if you go into the months class, right, you get even more time, right? And what do people do with more time? People waste time whenever they have more time. You get what I'm saying? So be selfish with your time. You have to put in the work, guys. You gotta study. You get what I'm saying? The more you study, the more you get a clear understanding of what you're doing, right? And I was doing a practice test yesterday, right? And I was gonna see if I can find this question for you, because I answered this question wrong. Matter of fact, let me get my book and I'm gonna read this question to you. And I want to give you an example of sometimes when you do a practice test, you just gotta have common sense, right? And I didn't let my common sense play out, right? So let me try to find this question before I go ahead with this video. So here is an example of this this question that I got wrong, people, right? So the question read: a real estate broker has entered into a single. Now I want you guys to pay attention to the keywords. Every time I come up on a keyword, I'm gonna like, how you call that? Emphasize, or I'm gonna you gonna notice I'm gonna say it louder or something like that, because I want you guys to pay attention to the keywords and how common sense can play a major part in you passing this test, right? In my opinion, a real estate broker has entered into a single agency relationship with the sellers of 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Now, what I want you guys to do is one thing I think that throws a lot of people off with this question is where it says sellers, right? It doesn't matter if it's a million sellers. To me, the key thing is that it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. So it's nothing in there. It's one house, right? It doesn't matter how much sellers it is. And I know you guys are probably saying to yourself, how does that matter? All right. It's just, you gotta listen out for things that will throw you off, in my opinion. One of the agents in that broker's office, okay? So one of the sales guy. Sometimes you gotta dummy things down in your brain, right? So let's just say, the Keller Williams office, right? So you just say one of the realtors in the office has found an investor. Okay? So when we start this question, all right, let's pretend this is Keller Williams. Keller Williams had entered into a single agency relationship, right? So one of the agent in that broker's office has found an investor, wanted to hire the brokerage firm as a single agent, right? Now, before I go on with the rest of the question, I'm gonna read the question all over again to you. I want you guys to think about this for a second, okay? I'm gonna read the definition of a single agency. A single agency or a single agent, right? An agency relationship in which the agent has only one principal per transaction in a residential sale, right? Okay, I want you guys to understand that a principal is a customer. So to dummy it down, a single agent is if I'm selling you a house, I just got one. If I'm selling you a house, right? I'm trying to explain this the best way I could. Okay, if I'm selling you a house, right? I can represent you if you're either the seller or the buyer. I can't represent you with both. I cannot be a dual agent, and we'll talk about that in further videos, right? I can only represent you as a seller or a buyer, but not at the same time in this transaction. And I want you guys to keep that in mind in this question that they're asking, right? So let's read the question again, guys. A real estate broker has entered into a single agency relationship with sellers of a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. One of the agents in that broker's office has found an investor wanting to hire the broker's firm as a single agent, right? For the investor to be shown this seller's house. Okay, so that's the question. Now we're going to pick out the best answer. Okay, A, the broker can work as a dual agent for both the buyer and the seller. Now you guys remember that definition I gave you? The broker can work as a dual agency for both the buyer and the seller. No, they cannot. I just told you in the definition that they cannot be a dual agent. They have to represent the buyer or the seller, right? This would be legal as long as the broker assign a designated agent for each party. Think about the answer for a second. This would be legal as long as the broker assign a designated agent for that party. Right? No, that's wrong. Okay, C. The seller must be informed that the brokerage firm is representing the buyer. That's wrong also. Okay. Both the seller and the investor must agree to transition to transaction broker status. That's the answer right there. And the reason why that's the answer is because that's where it's going to. It's going towards a transaction broker status, because now a transaction broker can represent both sides on a transaction. They can represent the buyer and they represent the seller. And the thing about a transaction broker is that I'm gonna read the definition for you guys on transaction broker. Okay, a transaction broker. A relationship created when a broker offers limited representation to one or both parties in a residential or real estate sale transaction, but does not represent either in a fiduciary capacity or as a single agent. You get what I'm saying? Because now you gotta think about it like this. You gotta understand the question, right? So I'm gonna dummy this down, right? Give you guys a clear understanding of what I'm trying to say. Because yeah, I know it's confusing, and it's still confusing to me, guys, because I just started real estate school. But one thing I figured out like really quick, your common sense better be like up to par, right? So let me dummy this down, right? So we know that a single agent can only represent one side of a transaction, either the buyer or seller, right? We know a transaction broker can represent the buyer and the seller, but they just have limited representation, or whatever you want to call it, right? I'm dumbing this down the best way I can. So if you come to me and you want me to list a house, you come to my agency, I'm a broker, you want me to list a house for you, right? And we got an investor that want to buy your house cash, right? You came to me, I'm your single agent. I found an investor that want to buy your house cash. Can I still be a single agent? No, because single agent is only representing one side of the transaction. So therefore, I have to transition from a single agent into a transaction broker, because now I'm dealing with both sides of the party. I cannot be a dual agent. A dual agent is illegal in Florida, right? Now I'm a transaction broker, because now, as transaction broker says, is that, let me try to find it. It's just a relationship when a broker offers limited representation to one or both parties. And now I'm dealing with both parties in a residential sale, but does not represent either a fiduciary capacity or as a single agent, right? Now, one thing that I see pop up a lot, one thing that pops up a lot when you come into real estate class, guys, and I'm just giving you a heads up, so you can write this down. Just write this word down. I want you to write this word down, because it's gonna pop up so much, and it's gonna throw you off. There's so much words that's gonna throw you off. You just write down these definitions and practice them over and over, and you're gonna be all right, right? All right, I want you guys to write down fiduciary, right? I know what it means, but I'm gonna read the proper definition for you. Okay, fiduciary simple means that a broker in a relationship of trust and confidence between that broker as agent and the seller or the buyer as a principal. The duties of the broker as a fiduciary are loyalty, confidentiality, obedience, full disclosure, and according to the duty, use skill, care, and diligence. So you're gonna see that on word a lot. It's basically a relationship and trust between the broker as agent and the seller or buyer as principal. It's just simple means a relationship between the broker and the seller or the buyer. Right? So what I'm doing today, guys, is get me a cup of coffee, and I'm gonna review some of the stuff that I learned so far. Because honestly, I got a friend right now. He's in the real estate, and he's doing pretty good. And he told me that most of the stuff that he learned in school is stuff that he's not using, and you're never gonna use. But you have to be selfish in your mind to pass this damn test, so you can move on to the other chapter, the other part of your life, right? So I didn't mean to keep you guys too long in this video today. First time watching my channel, please subscribe. I'm gonna be honest with you, I neglected my other YouTube channel, which I was making money on, for a month, just to go through this process of school. To me, it's gonna be worth it in the long run. You know what I'm saying? When I say I don't have time to upload videos on my next channel, because like, even though I'm uploading videos on here, I'm still talking about real estate. I'm psyching myself out, you know what I mean? I'm getting my brain, my thinking process has changed. So just be selfish for a month, guys. Be selfish for a week, however long it takes you to get the information. If it's gonna take you a week for class or a month, just be selfish, okay? Now, hope you guys like this video. Maybe I have a hard time explaining myself sometimes. I'm trying the best that I could, right? So please bear with me. One thing I don't do as a YouTuber, I just keep it raw, like, as possible. I do not go back and watch my videos before I release. I make a video and I just hit the button, click, release, right? And that's just the way I do things, okay? So I appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all have a good weekend out there.